Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. My name is Sukhmann Kaur, and I will be sharing an adaptation of the larger research paper entitled Exploring the Rags in the Guru Granth Sahib, a review of historical, folkloric, and regional aspects. A rag, or musical mode, can be understood as a musical structure that builds melody. Rags are a fundamental element of both Hindustani and Carnatic classical music and transcend mere melody, serving as a conduit for expressing a broad spectrum of emotions, moods, and narratives. In the Sikh cultural heritage, along with an infusion of musical and melodic dimensions, rags occupy a special place within the singing of Gurbani or Bani. By adopting this multifaceted role, they give an elevated experience to the singing. These dimensions are especially important for their unique historical, regional, and folklore-specific context. There are 31 major rags in the Guru Granth Sahib, and each rag's journey from a historical and regional perspective is traced in our larger paper. Here, I will present research on a few rags with particularly rich and broad histories, cultural notability, and regional associations. Designated second place in the Guru Granth Sahib, little historical information can be found on Rag Maj, and it is not mentioned in any ancient Hindustani musical texts. Hence, musicology scholars widely believe that Rag Maj is based on a prevalent folk tune belonging to Punjab's Majha region. It is also widely agreed upon that Guru Nanak Sahib conferred the name Rag Maj to a folk tune of the Majha region of Punjab. Later, the second, third, fourth, and fifth Gurus also composed Bani in this rag. According to Professor Tara Singh, there are several references where folk melodies were systematized and then included in the lists of rags of classical music by scholars. The first known mention of Rag Maj is in Guru Nanak Sahib's composition entitled Maj Ki Vaad. In the very title of this Vaad, the Guru instructs the singing of this composition to a very prevalent folk tune in Rag Maj. According to scholars, this rag is an original contribution of Guru Nanak Sahib to classical music, and it was so popular during the Guru period that apart from the classical singing styles, folk tunes were also sung in this rag. Associated with Punjab, the territorial epoch of that period is vividly captured here. According to Dr. Ratan Singh Jaggi, the Gurus used regional folk poetic forms, vocabulary, metaphors, and imagery to instruct seekers through a familiar language and lens. This made Bani more relatable across cultural differences and regional differences. He emphasized that the widespread popularity of such folk tunes allowed people to connect with Bani more deeply and more directly from their respective contexts. Rag Asa is designated fourth in the sequence and is not commonly sung in Hindustani music. Further, little information on it can be found in Hindustani musical texts. Master Bhai Prem Singh, Darbari Ragi and poet of the state of Patiala, writes that Rag Asa is a combination of Siri Rag, Rag Megh, and Rag Maru. This rag falls in the category of Sandhi Prakash rags, which are sung and played in the mornings and evenings. Punjab has a rich classical and folk music tradition, and Rag Asa is a part of this musical heritage. Rag Asa is Punjab's famous and melodious rag. Hence, Rag Asa was prevalent even before the arrival of Guru Nanak Sahib. Folk legends, songs, stories, and tunes sung and narrated in Rag Asa were and are extraordinarily popular. Outside of the Kirtan tradition, Rag Asa remains dominant in folk music classical music, and cinema. Long before Guru Nanak Sahib's time, the famous Tunde Asraje Diwar was also sung in this rag. The Bani of the Bhagat contributors of the Guru Granth Sahib who even predate Guru Nanak Sahib are also recorded in this rag. Rag Asa can be heard far and wide in the land of Punjab. Every morning, the golden rays of dawn stream together to the sweet melody of Asa Ki Waad. As the redness of every evening is gradually absorbed in the lap of nature, the musical notes of this rag sing the praises of Sodar. Rag Gujri is designated the 5th place and is found in 9 forms in ancient musical texts. However, in the Guru Granth Sahib, only Rag Gujri is mentioned explicitly. Some of the earliest and ancient musicology texts describe Rag Gujri. However, scholars differ on their views of its origin. Some argue that it originated in Gujarat, while others believe it was composed by Mrignani, the queen of Maharaja Man Singh Tomar of Gwalior, belonging to the Gujjar caste. However, due to the lack of any concrete evidence, scholars consider these views to be mere speculations. According to the Guru Granth Vishav Kosh, its original source is considered to be the folk songs of the Gujjar caste. Members of the Gujjar caste specifically have resided in Punjab and its adjoining territories for many centuries. This likely led to the rise of this rag and its popularity in surrounding areas. Rag Gujri is considered unique and suitable for singing compositions of devotional sentiments and is believed to be infused with Karuna Ras, the aesthetics of compassion. This rag is sung in the morning of all seasons. Designated 8th in the sequence, Rag Vadhans has 2 forms recorded in the Guru Granth Sahib. In the Sanskrit texts, it is written as Vadhansika and is considered to be a Ragini. Rag Vadhans is used in its classical form and for tunes related to folk poetical forms such as Kodiya and Alaniya. By using this rag in the poetic forms associated with death and the poetic forms related to weddings, it is clear that the Gurus treated joy and sorrow alike in the Guru Granth Sahib and shared this strong message with us through these compositions. Rag Suhi is a rag of enthusiasm associated with intense love and devotion and invokes a profound sense of adoration. Rag Suhi is designated 15th in the sequence. Compositions related to the engagement and the Sikh marriage ceremony, Anand Karaj, are all in Rag Suhi. There are many references to Sohag, marital bliss, and Sohagan, married woman, in this rag. The Bani in this rag also typically includes the union of a happily married human bride, the seeker, and the divine husband, Ek Oankar. Many compositions also touch on the metaphors of Kuchaji and Suchaji associated with a married woman. An ungraceful bride who does not know the way to connect with Ek Oankar is called Kuchaji, while a graceful bride who does know the way to connect with Ek Oankar is called Suchaji. Thus, the inclusion of shabads titled Kuchaji, Suchaji, and Gunwanti in Rag Suhi is in accordance with the rag's original tone and subject. Rag Maru is designated 21st place in the sequence. It is an old and famous rag alternatively known by 4 different names. In the Guru Granth Sahib, under Rag Maru, Bani is recorded in 2 more forms of the rag, Maru Kafi and Maru Dakhani. One of the meanings of Maru is barren land, desert, or sandy area. Perhaps that is why Rag Maru is considered the Rag of the deserts. This denotation is reflected in Guru Nanak Sahib's usage of the word Maru in his Bani. Compared to other rags, information on Rag Maru's cultural influence tells us about its multidimensional body. Bhai Karn Singh Nabha, while associating Rag Maru with enthusiasm and zeal, writes that Rag Maru makes warriors ready to accept death. For this reason, many scholars consider Rag Maru to be a special rag of war. He quotes a line from the 16th Pauri of Chandi Divad and interprets Maru as a war drum or a large kettle drum that produces a loud noise. In both of these interpretations, the meaning of the word Maru is connected to war. Other scholars also argue that cowardice dissipates as an effect of singing Rag Maru. While it carries the capacity to valorize warriors, its element of enthusiasm is also apparent. It seems Guru Arjan Sahib recorded the following passion-filled sulok of Bhagat Kabir Ji under Rag Maru because of its enthusiastic nature. Sura so pehchaniye jo lare deen ke het, purja purja kat mare, kabhu na chhade khet. As for some scholars, Rag Maru is also associated with a sense of separation. Therefore, it is often sung during war and at the time of someone's death. The tradition of singing shabads in this rag during ceremonies related to death is ancient. Scholars argue that the notes of this rag create an atmosphere that conveys a sense of separation and a sense of detachment. The Gur Pratap Suraj Granth also refers Rag Maru singing during the cremation of Guru Hargobind Sahib's body and Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib's head. In the idiom of Nihang 6, the meaning of Maru Gona is to cry out or call out in pain. Therefore, the acts of weeping, wailing, lamenting are also called Maru Gona. It seems that Nihang 6 may have coined this idiom for crying and wailing from the tradition of singing shabads from Rag Maru, which are filled with feelings of separation or detachment at the time of someone's death. In some poems, Rag Maru is also used to symbolize crying or calling out in pain. For example, the poem Asade Uppar Hoye Papan Da Saboot, written by Gurmukh Singh Musafir during the days of the Akali movement, can also be considered. Kanni sun lami, rag sab bulbulan da, kise rag di sanu, pachhan kiye, bulbul baag di, phire betab vekhi, bina rag maru, hon gaan ki ye. Rag Basant is designated 25th in the sequence. It is an ancient, popular, and serious rag. Its flow is steady, and it is a season-specific rag. Therefore, it is sung to express joy, excitement, or the cheerfulness of spring. In the natural progression of human life, months, dates, days, and seasons play an important role. As per the natural conditions of South Asia, the thunder of clouds and steady rain, typically through mid-July to mid-September, or Savan to Pado, the blooming of the earth and the sky in spring, mid-March to mid-May, Jaith to Vasak, bring joy to the beings and remind them of Ek Oankar. Since humans are known to carry a deep connection with nature, nature's vibrant colors and beauty are always pleasing to them. This is understood to be the inspiration for Rag Basant. Spring is often considered the most pleasant season and, as such, is designated as Ritu Raj, or King of Seasons, accordingly. This rag is also often associated with a particular narrative surrounding Maharaja Ranjit Singh. Once, in the spring season, he visited Sri Anandpur Sahib. He had heard about the musical prowess of Bhai Prem Singh, the Ragi of Anandgarh Fort. Maharaja Ranjit Singh requested that Bhai Prem Singh sing Kirtan in Rag Basant. The Ragi agreed to do so, and the next day asked the Sangat to come dressed in white. When the day arrived, all of the officials, including Maharaja Ranjit Singh, enjoyed the Kirtan with their eyes closed. When the Kirtan was over, everyone opened their eyes and were amazed to see that their clothes were now saffron-hued. Since compositions and songs in this rag primarily describe the spring, gifted musicians typically sing this rag at any time of the day during the spring season. In the Gurmat Sangeet tradition, there is a practice of singing Rag Basant during the time between Maghi and Hola Mahalla in every Kirtan Chonki. Rag Sarang is designated 26th in the sequence. It is a calm, simple, melodious, and popular rag. It has been popular in Hindustani music for centuries. In the Guru Granth Sahib, 2 word forms are used for this rag, Sarang and Sarag. Rag Sarang is a popular and loved rag by folk singers of Punjab and Rajasthan. It is said that even the snake charmers play the tune of this rag on the been, a wind instrument, and the melodies of many folk songs are based on this rag. For example, in the folk song below, the description of this rag is clear. Mahiya main long gwa aiyan, soniye ni kithe gwa aiye. Rag Malhar is a rag ang rag and is designated 27th in the sequence. Rag Malhar is an ancient, simple, and popular Hindustani music rag. Seasonally, Rag Malhar is sung during the rainy season. According to the geographical conditions of Hindustan, this rag is sung mostly in the months of Savan, which are mid-July to mid-August, and Bhadon, which is mid-August to mid-September. Musicians of the medieval and contemporary periods created several forms of this rag by combining the main ang or style of this rag with notes from other rags. Consequently, numerous forms of this rag came into existence. In the modern period, there are at least 13 other popular rags resulting from combinations with Rag Malhar. According to the Encyclopedia of Sikhism, Rag Malhar is combined with several other rags, but especially Rag Megh. Mian Tansen also made some changes in Rag Malhar, which is why it is sometimes referred to as Mian Ki Malhar. Oftentimes, when a popular folk tale is associated with certain rags, those rags become famous in both the musical world and amongst the common masses. These rags specifically include Deepak, Megh, Malhar, and Basant. According to a folk tale associated with Rag Malhar, once Emperor Akbar asked Mian Tansen to sing Rag Deepak. Rag Deepak's effects were such that the temperature in the surrounding environment increased to such an extent that the heat began to burn Mian Tansen's body. Then his daughter sang Rag Malhar, causing it to rain, and suddenly the surrounding environment cooled down. Thus, Mian Tansen's life was saved. Malhar means joy, happiness, or enjoyment, and it is typically associated with rain. While asking us to consider the serene nature of Rag Malhar, Guru Amar Das Sahib reminds us that real peace can only be experienced when Ek Oankar is praised through this rag. Beings who sing this rag by becoming wisdom-oriented or guru-centered attain peace in their mind and body through Naam. Rag Kalyan is designated 29th place in the sequence. It is exceptionally melodic and is a prevalent rag of Hindustani music. In the medieval period, Muslim singers and instrumentalists also broadly adopted this rag. With the influence of Yavan or Greek culture, this rag is sometimes referred to with titles like Yavan, Yaman, Aman, Jaman, but its ancient name is Kalyan. By weaving together insights from musicology, religious studies, and cultural history, this survey contributes to a broader understanding of the multifaceted role of rags in shaping religious, cultural, and musical identities within the Sikh tradition. This study reveals how these musical modes are not merely aesthetic choices, but are deeply embedded in the spiritual and the cultural fabric of Sikh life. Each rag, with its unique mood and emotional resonance, plays a significant role in conveying the teachings of the Sikh gurus and in guiding the spiritual practices of the community. Furthermore, this paper argues that understanding the historical significance of rags deepens our appreciation for Sikh musical traditions and enhances our comprehension of the socio-cultural milieu from which they emerged. While some rags' cultural or regional influence may not always be immediately apparent, a closer examination uncovers the subtle and yet profound ways in which these musical forms are intertwined with Sikh culture and life. These latent connections surface particularly in broad surveys such as this and are helpful as a starting point to understanding the significance of the 31 major rags of the Guru Granth Sahib. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.